Schuster. She's a cook at Sebo restaurant in San Francisco, who is going to finish on video a really great conversation we were having off camera about how the Bay Area is affected by Japan's earthquake, and particularly its restaurants, right?
What's
true. Going on?
Well,
and you can look at me when we're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, for instance, the earthquake has disturbed a lot of habitat and also the livelihoods of the fisher people. The ports. I mean, if you think of what happened in Santa Cruz, it's happened on a much more large scale in Japan. There are ports that aren't able to take fish in, and the fish that we get for our restaurant is almost entirely from Japan, and it comes to us fresh, never frozen. And so after a crisis of this magnitude, you can imagine the last thing we're expecting is Japan to make sure that we have these cosseted little beautiful fish. In fact, what has happened, we expected not to get fish this entire week, but because the entire nation has been affected through the nuclear tragedy and just the enormity of the calamity, they're having to use rolling blackouts, which means there's no refrigeration available. And so if they have beautiful fish, they're letting it out. They're sending it across the world.
A question that somebody watching is going to wonder, is that to say the fish also possibly could be affected by the radiation?
Well,
is that a fear on your part? Or?
It is eventually a fear on our part. It is currently not a fear. Obviously, all of the ports in the immediate area around the nuclear disaster are also a shambles. I mean, there's no way that you're going to be landing fish out of that water for a number of reasons. Both the tsunami, the earthquake itself, the lack of infrastructure, the fact that the majority of people were, so many people were killed or injured, and their boats as well have been destroyed. I mean, that's just going to rebuild that is going to take a long enough time. Hopefully, within that rebuilding period, we'll be able to assess more accurately the actual radiation that the fish have received, if any, and how that is going to affect the fishing industry. It's definitely something we're concerned about. It's definitely something we're trying to find out about how they can test for it. But currently, the fish that we're getting is from waters that are nowhere near the radioactivity.
And Sebo has a great food. You obviously pay attention to these issues.
Oh, we do.
Tell my viewers where you're located.
We're at 517 Hayes between Laguna and Octavia.
I got to ask you the question. This is my question. What is your signature dish? When I come there, what do you want me to order?
Until last week I would have said Hokkaido uni. I'm not sure how much of that we're going to be getting. Our signature dish is the freshest fish that we can possibly serve you, and it's seasonal. Don't expect to always find tuna. That's something we get very rarely. Our signature dish is a fish that will blow your mind that you've probably never even tasted before.
Nice. With a nice wine, right?
Actually, we don't have wine lists. We do have excellent sake, chosen by True Sake across the street. Bo Timkins is he's a master sake sommelier, and a small but delicious selection of beer.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thanks.
So is Sebo getting fish?
We are, surprisingly. We didn't expect to be, but because of the rolling blackouts, there's no way to actually hold the fish in Japan. We had expected all of the fish to remain in Japan, as you know, should rightly be the case, but because they can't hold on to it and because the fishermen still need their livelihood, we are still getting fish, and it's still beautiful quality. I mean, it's a real testament to the Japanese transportation system that even with all of this tragedy, we can still get gorgeous fish.
And from the Red Cross event at the San Francisco International Airport, odd, isn't it?
All places.
I know.
All places. Anyway.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.